Hello, everyone. Welcome to Taiji class for today. We're going to do something a little bit different, but we will begin with warm-ups, and then I'm going to call someone in, and we're going to go over some posture corrections or adjustments on some of the things that we've learned so far. So let's begin, as we always do, with our wrist circles overhead. So circling the wrists, gently sweeping the arms down in an arc. Do that 2-3 times. Remembering to keep the body and the breath relaxed, movement smooth, breath smooth. And then let's just go ahead and do some different warm-ups for the wrists today. Let's go ahead and lift up and down, and you can rise up on your toes as we do this. Up and down, almost as if you were going to hit your wrists on a board at the top, and then at the bottom as well. And then we're going to grab some sand as if we were at the beach, make 2 fists, and then flick, flick, flick. Just get rid of that sand, loose wrists. Good. And then we will protect one hand, protect the head with one hand, circle the other to the side, alternating. To the front. Feel a nice stretch between the shoulders and the upper back. Overhead. Reach up and then release the arms and let your arms swing freely. And open and arch the back. Close and round the back. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Good. Let's do windmills. Lift one hand and the other. Let the waist be relaxed. You can turn side to side. Let the waist and the hips move freely. And then shoulders, just go ahead and roll both shoulders back. Roll them forward. Shrug, and then let them relax. Good. We can widen our legs a little bit, and then we will just, again, let the waist and the hips rotate side to side. Arms loose and relaxed. Good. And then we can make 2 fists and find your kidney area or the small of your back and just rub there, get some heat and friction going. Give yourself a nice little back massage there. Use your thumbs, your closed fists. Good. And then we will just go ahead and isolate the pelvis, and we're going to draw the compass points north, east, southwest. Go ahead and rotate the hips, draw a circle. Try to make your rotation and your movement an even circle as much as possible. Make sure we go both directions. And then we're gonna relax and we're gonna circle the head over the hips this time. We can bend at the waist. Good, make sure we do both directions. Good. Then we're gonna find our bow stance. I'll just go ahead and step back a little bit here. Find our bow stance. And then we're gonna push our hips forward again. So again, drawing a circle. You put your hands on your hips, or they can be relaxed at your sides, where it feels good. Do a few circles and go ahead and drop down into a little lunge. Just stretch through your hip flexor area. Take some relaxed breaths. You can lean forward to change legs. Same thing, find your bow stance, circle the hips. Just push the hips forward. Feeling a little stretch through the hip flexor area, through the hip, front of the thigh. Go ahead and drop down into that little lunge, nice little stretch. Sure to keep your hips tucked under. So if you're not feeling this a lot, just take and tuck your pelvis in a little bit more and you'll feel a little bit more push, a little bit more stretch there. You can lean forward and bring your feet together. So let's begin with a little review. I'm just going to tip my camera down a little bit here. Let's begin with a little review of strike tiger. So feet together, we're going to sink and split. Step back into a bow stance. Turn the waist for our strike. Shift forward. Open the hands back to center. Sink and split. Step back into our bow stance. This is a grab, and this is our strike. So again, come to center. Sink and split. Step back into our bow stance. Here, our open hand comes in. We're grabbing a wrist, close the hands, shift and turn. So you would pull the arm. Then with the waist, our waist turn is going to bring our fist up for our strike. Shift, open, back to center, sink and split. Step back the other side into our bow stance. Hand closes, waist turns, okay? Then our waist turn gives us that strike. So that's our strike tiger left and right. So I'm going to bring in someone for our demonstration. So come on in. This is Judy. She's going to help today. So let's see the strike tiger that we just went over. Just do your best. What's that? I need to watch. Watch? Okay. I'll give a demonstration. All right. So we're going to sink, split, arm grabs, and strike. Yep. Back to center. Sink, split, step back. Here's our grab and our strike. Yep. Okay, we'll do again, both sides. Okay, all right, try again on your own. All right, so I'm going to give another demonstration. Split and sink. So we're just going to take this one piece at a time. So for here, why don't you come and face me? All right, so palms up, elbows relaxed. We always want to keep the joints in our arms relaxed. So if we feel tense or tight anywhere. We just want to come back to like a neutral posture, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knees and just sink down. And my hands are just going to fall to the sides, relaxed. I'm going to shift all my weight to one foot, right? And then I'm going to step back, my toe, whenever we step back, your toe leads, right? And then I'm going to just kind of shift or place that, right? Place that first, and then we're going to do our grab. So this is good facing each other. Basically, so we want to be at wrist height, right? So that's a good height. We're going to grab, make that fist, turn the waist and pull, okay? And then our waist turn is going to bring us back here. All right, so you went a little bit too far. So let's just do that a couple more times, nice and slow. Nice and relaxed, right? So your elbows begin about 90 degrees, right? So you can look at the camera for a little bit of feedback here. So split and sink, just really relaxed. Hands just fall down, step back, place the toe. Yep, then shift into the heel. Grab. Yep, this is so relaxed, almost as your arm just swings out. Close. The waist turn is really completing that, right? So the waist turn is what brings you there. Yep. So, but you're not going to move your feet. So go ahead. Start again. Arms really relaxed. Palms up. Just sink, let the arms fall down. Step backwards into a bow stance. Nice and relaxed. Place. Now, once you're in your bow stance, we're not going to really move that. We're not going to move the feet at all. So this arm's going to come out, grab, and it's just the waist. So your arm is going to swing up. We're going to make this arc, right? So from here, nice, relax. The arm just falls down as we step back. Arm just reaches out, grabs that wrist. Okay. And then once we're here, our feet aren't going to move. We're in our bow stance. Our lower legs are nice and solid. It's just a waist turn and a shift back in your legs. So we're shifting onto our back foot, not moving our back foot, just shifting onto it, right? So let's talk about where our weight is. So when we begin here, our weight is 50-50, right? Hips are tucked under, palms up, sink down, our weight is still 50-50, 100-0. That's the first shift that we make, 100-0. So almost into a cat stance, right? Then our free foot, so you can go ahead and lift that up or just touch with your toe. That free foot, just the toe steps back, place the heel, shift. Yeah, so it's more of like a bending. It's more of a bending of the knees, right? So when we're talking about our stances, our feet aren't moving, but we're shifting our weight back and forth, right? Just shifting. So try to match up center to center, shoulder to shoulder. Sink and split, step back, yep. Good. And then forward, yep. So yeah, that's pretty good. But so your lower hand is about the right height. Your upper hand, you want to have, yep, about forehead height. Yeah. So just try to remember that, get that in your body a little bit. Let's do the other side. So we'll sink and split, right? Place our foot. And as we do that, remember that for the bow stance, we're going to go ahead and place it to the corner, right? So our toe is going to point to the corner when we step back. Yeah. Make sure it's not too wide. It's a little bit more difficult finding our bow stance going backwards, right? So then it's going to be this arm and this arm. Yeah, much better arm placement. That's much better arm placement and much better stance. That side might be easier for you. So that's good. That's a good review of strike tiger when you step to the side for just a minute. And let's move on to another one. I'm going to grab just a little bit of water here. Okay, so that's a little review, a few corrections for strike tiger left and right. I hope that clarifies. If anything is not clear, as always, feel free to reach out if something is not feeling right, or to review the videos. Let's move on to another one. Let's do, how about Golden Rooster? So for Golden Rooster, we're gonna get nice and centered, right? Think about our weight, right? So if we begin 50-50, we're gonna go to 0 and 100, right? We're gonna go get ready for that cat stance. We're gonna sink, make sure our hips are tucked under, and then we're gonna use our legs to lift up for Golden Rooster. Again, really relaxed, almost just swing to the side, right? And then we're shifting from 100, 0 to 0, 100, shifting, sink, really sit into that hip, and then use the legs to lift. Yeah, and then just swing back. Same thing, keep doing, couple more repetitions. Good. All right, come on in for this one. Does it work better if you're behind me and I'm in front? Does that help? Okay, so go ahead and step back there. I'll be in front. So Golden Rooster, I always like to start lifting my right side. So I just kind of sit and sink into this left hip. Come up. Step back. Just real small steps. Make sure the toe is pointing to the corner. And up. Yeah, just relaxed. Turning to the side, sitting into that hip, just preparing. Yeah. And I have to say that right now I don't really see the class struggling with this one a lot, which is really good. That tells me that, you know, there's something correct somewhere. So let's see that. Do you want to come face to face? Does that help? Let's try a Golden Rooster and just do a real small step back because we don't have a lot of space here. So let's go ahead, Golden Rooster, really sit and sink into that hip. Yeah, and then get ready, lift. Yeah, you don't have to watch me. You can just do it like you always do. And then just, yeah, placement, and then ready for the next one. Yeah, yep. Might be more distracting to be, when we go side to side, maybe we can face the front here. So sit into the left hip. Yep. Step back just slightly. It's up. Yep. A little bit. Another one. Yep. Another. Good. Do a couple more. Okay, I'm just going to give you a slight correction right there. I'm just going to move your arm up this way a little bit. So let's turn to the side. Yeah. So we don't want to make the shoulder tense at all, but when we finish, we do want to have about a 90-degree in the arm here, right? So just like that, and I'll demonstrate here and just kind of hold. Yeah, now look at yourself for reference. Yeah, and just try to get that into your muscle memory, that it's about 90 and about 90 for the elbow and for the knee, right? So other than that, let's see the steps again. Let's just come up on the side here. Let's see the little steps. Yeah, and if you feel unstable, that's always the easiest thing to do, is to just catch yourself with your toe, right? Yeah, and if you're ever finding that you're having trouble balancing, I would just suggest to turn the toe out even a little bit more to the corner. And that's going to depend on, you know, your individual conformation. If you try to turn out to 90, you're going to have a hard time probably. But if you go to 45, you know, or for me, it's less than 45, it's somewhere in the middle, right? But turned out enough that my toe that I'm bearing all my weight on is not facing forward. We do want to have it slightly turned out, right? And that allows us to really relax and sink and keep this hip open, keep the knee open, and be free to move like that. Yeah, so as we step back, when we touch the toe, just make sure that, that we're to the corner a little bit and not straight ahead with our rear foot, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, step back, toe to the corner and heel in just slightly, right? And our forward foot, forward toe faces the forward wall, but when we step back, place, yep, so it happens right away when we step back. Place the toe, roll down onto the heel, and that's kind of when you set your angle before we shift our weight and raise. But that looks pretty good. I would just, my suggestion here, without making your shoulder tense, is just to check, and you can use a mirror, or you can use a phone or whatever, it's just to check that this arm isn't, you know, kind of being lazy or down at the side. Yeah, so that's good. And then as we step back, this arm just, again, just almost falls, you know, in a controlled way and just brushes. You could be blocking right here, right? So, yep, just a sweep back. That looks pretty good. Are there any postures that in particular you have questions about? Brush knee?
Yeah.
Brush knee? Okay, let's do, you want to go ahead and go behind me again? We'll do a couple brush knees. Okay. So I like to start here, make my little ward off, right? And get my arm prepared back here. So I'm in a cat stance. I'm going to step out into my bow stance. Do a few of these just nice and slow so you can just watch. Okay, I'm gonna back up and just do a few more so you can just watch a few of those repetitions. So I'm gonna start in a cat stance, get my ward off up, and again, just make sure the ward off is nice and rounded. This arm's nice and rounded, right? So then we're gonna step forward, place the heel, just roll onto the toe and then shift the weight. So focus more on the stances first. Rock back, turn the toe out. Then just set that placement of the toe, come up, cat stance if you like. Prepare, step out, just place the heel, roll onto the toe, and then we shift the weight, shift into that front leg. Rock back, again, shifting the weight, opening, set the toe, step up just into a cat stance, right? And then as we step out into our bow stance, place the heel, roll onto the toe, shift into that front leg. That's most of what's happening in this posture, is that shift. So again, just a couple more. And you can kind of look back, you can just at your rear hand, you know, just always keeping our angles covered. And even though it feels like our rear hand is up kind of high, maybe ear height here, as we come past our side, we lower, we sink down, and we push from the heart, push from the chest, right? So that's about that height. That looks good. Ward off, prepare, sink down and push from the chest, push from the heart. Yep. And then our brush knee, let's go over that hand. As we shift and we come down this lower hand, again, just think of just almost falling, almost a controlled fall. That hand is so relaxed. We're coming from our ward off, and that hand just falls down. And we're not going to touch our knee, but where we end is with this hand, this palm kind of parallel with this leg here. So if I were to turn to the side, we want to end with this arm and that leg pretty parallel, right? Again, brush left knee. And if you need a reference check, brush left knee. We're going to end with our left side forward, right? Both that knee and that hand, they're together, same side, right? Rock back, hold the ball. Step up into cat stance. And if you're, you know, just lift this one up so our hand is about ear height, keeping our ward off with the front. Place the heel and the toe, shift, and push. Yeah, and if the timing or any of these pieces gets you, just stop and slow down and just work on piece by piece. Yeah, so just always make sure that our brush knee, this is a really nice relaxed, right? So when you brush the knee, the side that brushes the knee, right? It's just this real relaxed from the elbow, nice swing down. Again, this is a block. We could be blocking a kick, right? So it's not nothing, but we also don't want to have it tense. We want it to be just a natural movement where it kind of falls down. Our elbows relaxed, our wrist is relaxed. Yeah. Yeah, and if legs and arms get mixed up, just change them. All right. Good. Let's see. What else do we have time for? How about repulse monkey? How's that one feel? Okay. Repulse monkey. So for repulse monkey, we are not doing bow stances, right? We're gonna have shoulder width. And generally, it's okay if the toes, if it's more comfortable for your knees, for your hips, for your toes to slightly turn out, that's totally fine. But if you really want to work on it, you can really try to taigan, keep your hips tucked under, and try as best you can to keep your toes pointed straight. And so one tip, if you have a hardwood floor, or anything with parallel lines, is you can just literally look at, find your shoulder width and see what that is. And just think about, as we do repulse monkey, that we're just taking these little baby steps backwards, and we would almost be keeping our feet on the same boards, right? Just slightly, step back. And as we do that, we shift, we kind of shift our hips naturally when we walk. Yeah. So that's the first thing with repulse monkey, is just getting our posture and our alignment right for our steps, for our stances. Even though it's not big, we're still, we're staying centered, we're staying grounded. So repulse monkey. So I'm going to start with my left side forward, okay? And then I'm going to step back. That side, my hand is just going to come to my hip. The other side is going to do this push. Circle this arm back. Other palm turns up, so my palms are opposite. Step back and push. Circle open, change the hands, right? Step back. Come forward, we'll do a few more of those. Repulse the monkey, left and right. So, yep, so we step back, and then that side of the body, that arm goes back. Open. We're changing our hands, so we've got one palm down, one palm up. Step back. And note that they've got this nice opening, right? So our waist is definitely turning for this posture. Open, really open and turn the waist. Coming back here, our waist is still turned. If my hand is back, my waist is still turned to the side. And as I step back, I come kind of to center. And then my waist is the other way, right? Now my waist is to this corner. Open, change the hands, step back. Yep. Let's do a couple more of those. Okay. One of the biggest things I'm noticing, and just watch here for a minute, is right here, this elbow is out, but it's not out up, it's not up. I don't want to be using my shoulder muscle to bring this arm up. So when I circle back, again, really check that shoulders, elbows, wrists are all relaxed. Step back, and again, this push is going to come from the chest. So even though we circle here to ear height, and this hand comes kind of next to our ear, then we sink, we drop down, and again, we push from the chest. With brush knee, we're moving forward. With pulse monkey, we're moving back, but we still have this push from the chest, right? And one thing I like to visualize for this one is that we're down a narrow, we're in a narrow hall and somebody's coming at us and we're going, nope, we're blocking as we step back, blocking as we step back, blocking as we step back. So again, I don't want to be tense in the shoulders. I don't want my elbows out. I don't want my elbows parallel here. So just be mindful as we go through to not keep your elbows tight and pinched in like this, but also don't be lifting them out. So just kind of find somewhere in the middle. Yeah, that looks much more relaxed in your shoulders. Yeah, so we're going to see as we circle, our elbows are going to come out a little bit, but when we circle back, we don't want to be lifting from the shoulders. We just want to be opening and letting the shoulders rotate, letting the arms rotate and circle, right? So it's again, you can think of just think of the natural movement of the joint. Think of this swinging, right? Just think of this natural swinging movement and try to put that into not wanting to bring the joints outside of our normal range, right? So if we're doing a lot of this out to the side, for one, if we're in a narrow hallway, that's not going to work. And it's also going to leave us open to, maybe an attack. We want to just in general, again, not stay too close and too tight, but we also, if we're way out to the sides here, we're leaving our core open. We're not protecting ourselves. So if we are, pushing, if we are blocking, we want to have our arms a little bit more in towards our body, right? So that's some really good specifics for those. Okay, another posture, one more posture that you would pick.
We can do cloud hands. Sometimes my feet get mixed
The
up.
feet get mixed up for clown hands. Okay. Which direction do you like to go? Side to side?
Yeah, to
Left or right? Do you have a preference?
to the right.
To the right. You usually go to the right when you do cloud hands. Okay. So if I want to go right, just in general, I'll kind of start here, and I guess I kind of focus on the top hand. So the top hand is going to turn the direction that our feet are going to move. So we're going to reach out, change the hands, step in a little bit, right? And then when we turn this way, turn. So this is going to be our counterbalance. So right as we go to put our hand out, we're going to take this little step with the foot. Yeah. Then we're going to shift, change our hands, shift our weight. Yeah. And when we reach out, we're going to move that foot and bring it in, change the hands. And the palms always face you. Palms always face you for cloud hands. Yeah, so we have about kind of this upper chest height. It's not on your neck, it's not in your heart, it's kind of somewhere in between. And that might be a little bit different, but again, just relaxed, not lifting or tensing the shoulders. That's kind of I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm noticing, is that it looks like you're tensing, it looks like you're lifting up with your shoulders sometimes, and that's going to create more tension in the neck and shoulders. So really just try to relax and drop down a little bit, and you can try to reset your shoulders a little bit, again, not getting too tense. But yeah, let's lift again. You're gonna turn to the left, reach out. Coming back. Yeah, so let's focus on let's focus on feet here for a minute. So for cloud hands, so just like for For repulsed monkey, we're taking these little baby steps. For cloud hands, tuck your hips under, let the knees bend, and we're just to take baby steps. Just take little baby steps. Yeah, and our toes keep pointing forward. Toes keep pointing at the forward wall. Yeah, and I think that, so this is one of the biggest things that can throw you off, is just practice keeping, think of some lines here. Think of our forward facing is that we're just gonna make right angles, right? So we're gonna draw this line this way and this way. And when we step to the side, we're never gonna step off our line this way, right? And our feet are always gonna point forward. And if we do that, go ahead and step back this way. If we do that, that's gonna prevent us from overturning the waist and overturning the arms. So let's do that. Let's talk about how far we go then when we turn, right? So we're gonna shift and turn. So our waist is gonna stop. Because our feet are forward, our waist is gonna stop turning at the 45, but then our arms continue to the side, right? So our arms will continue. Here, turn, 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 turn. So, and let's translate this. Let's go arm to arm here. Like we're gonna walk the circle in Bagua, switch your arm. Yeah. So let's just do that. Get your guard up here. So, and then just naturally walk a little circle here. So I've talked about this before, and go ahead and stop, but we're gonna have a few different turns in the body here. We're gonna have so if our feet are forward, our waist is gonna turn in, and then our arms are gonna turn in more to keep walking like this. So you could think of it as 3 twists in a rope. All right, so let's stop there and let's go back to cloud hands and let's think of our three twists in a rope. So our feet are forward as we turn, right? So if we're neutral here, we turn to the side, right? So here's our twist in our waist, and then our waist stops, but our arms keep turning, right? So our arms are gonna open to the side, but our waist is to the corner and our feet are to the front. So those are our 3 little reference points for cloud hands. Yeah, so step to the side just a little bit there. So if we want to move to the right, our right arm is going to be on top. Moving to the right, right arm to the top. And then when we turn left, left arm is going to be on top. Change the hands. Right arm, we turn right. Change the hands. Left arm on top, we turn left. Change the hands, right? So you'd almost think of this right elbow, but our right turn leading, right? Left elbow turning to the left. Right elbow turning to the right. Yeah. So when we turn, our palms will face each other when we reach out here and we do our little step. And then they're going to come back in. Here our palms face the body. So when we're neutral, palms always face you. You could think of making a little, I'm going to give you another little correction here. So let's think again of, do a ward off. Yeah, do a ward off, like we're going to do our brush knee, right? Yeah, so just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more down. Yeah, that's a better ward off, that's a better distance. So now if I came and I pushed on your arm here, yeah, you have a little bit of strength, you have a little bit of structure in your arm. Just turn to the side. Turn, yep, keep that, turn to the side. So when you're nice, turn and face this wall and keep that there. Yep. So if I come in and I push against this, yeah, you have some strength, right? So if you're way out here, I can pull you. Now, if your cloud hands are in here, this is going to be much easier for me to close the distance and push you, right? So think of this nice structure, this nice rounded structure for ward off. Think of that in our cloud hands too. So if you're not feeling real well and you just don't have a lot of energy, you can keep your arms, you can keep this a little closed, a little bit tighter, right? But if you're feeling good, you can be like bigger, you can be a little bit bigger, a little bit more expansive. Think of, almost, holding a cloud, hugging a cloud. Yeah, have a little space in the elbows. Yeah. Have a little space in the elbows. Yeah, much better. So those are just some points on distance, right? So we're still gonna keep our palms facing each other, facing ourselves, but just to get that spacing, and one of the ways that I like to check this is if I'm taking nice, full, deep breaths, I naturally sort of want to expand and make my movement bigger. If my breath is restricted, say I'm like doing shallow breathing, I might want to feel, a little bit smaller, right? My breath and my movement are going to match. So if you try to really expand and fill your rib cage, take nice full breaths in and just think about feeling expansive, right? Again, just try to translate that feeling. Yeah, I don't know if that feels more fluid and more smooth, but it looks better. Yep. Yeah, and so, we want to work on these posture corrections because it's going to help us get the health benefits and stuff. But the main thing is that how we feel when we're done practicing is the most important thing. And if we're going, oh my gosh, my form is wrong, and we're getting more tense and we're making our breath more shallow, we're not going to get the health benefits. So step by step, do the corrections, but focus more. Yeah, that's so much more fluid. That looks so much more comfortable.
It is.
Yeah, okay, good. So I think that's enough corrections and pointers for today. Thank you so much for helping demonstrate. I think that's enough to think about for today. Definitely reference this video. And as I've said before, use mirrors, use video, get a little bit of self-feedback, because sometimes when we're just feeling in our body, we need some visual feedback, or we need some physical feedback. And if you don't have a practice partner to walk the circle with, to feel that, I think when I touched you, I think that you got some immediate feedback, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the benefit. This is the downside to doing Zoom classes and to not doing partner work, is you're missing that feedback. So, so even if you don't have a partner to practice with, one thing that you can do is you can actually, now that we're getting into the first section, you can practice your push against a wall or against a tree or against a post in your house. If you don't have a partner to practice with, you can actually practice all these things against a tree, against a wall, even if it's just your ward off or your press, and you're going to get a little bit of biofeedback that I think just makes things click with our brain a little bit faster. So that was really great. I'm so glad that you could join us for today. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see everybody next week. Until then, take care.